Heyo, what's good and welcome back, my dive squad. Today I got two brand new dives for you. These were on the dive site of the Sherman wreck. It is a Civil War era boat that sunk in 1874, I believe. I'm gonna get into the history once the videos start rolling. So just quick look at the dive profile here. We got, oh darn, I didn't have the summary tab highlighted. That's all right. I got down to about 50 feet, 55 feet, I think. And temperature was all over the map for some reason. Really weird. I was wearing a 3mm wetsuit. That was probably overkill. I didn't need that. My dive buddy was wearing a skin. She was fine in that. Anyway, nothing too spectacular to look at here. A couple of scent warnings at the end. No big deal. Let's jump into it. All right, I can tell you, I was a little befuddled on this dive down. The conditions were pretty bad, so I was supposed to go diving the day before. The ocean was very choppy. Yeah, let me back up a little bit. So I took a trip to Litchfield Beach, which is south of Myrtle Beach. It's less touristy. This dive was about 4 years in the making, I believe, so yeah, one of the trips to Litchfield, I go about every year. That was kind of the dive side of a family vacation for me growing up. So my folks go to Litchfield pretty much every year. And back when I first started diving, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I signed up with this dive shop in like North Myrtle Beach without even thinking about it. And they're a good shop. Really, 5 stars all the way around. In fact, Coastal Scuba is their name. If you're ever in Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, looking for a dive shop, highly recommend them. Really awesome. But staying in Litchfield Beach, it's like an hour away. So stupid on my part, but I signed up for them. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So like 4 years ago, signed up for the dive, got canceled. Don't even remember why. They gave me store credit. Like, okay, come back the next year, sign up for the dive with the store credit, canceled. That was 2 years ago. Last year I didn't even go. Or no, last year it also got canceled. I think maybe 2 years I didn't even go. Last year also got canceled. This year got canceled. Like, geez, here we go. This is the dive. This is never going to happen. But they rescheduled me for the next day. It finally worked out. Finally used the store credit. So this is a dive 4 years in the making. Yellow sauce coming at you. Ooh, even shine the light in my face. But yeah, so I'm finally happy to, and inflation is real because they gave me store credit for the entire dive, and then last time I signed up for it, it was like $5 more, and then, this year I think I ended up paying $20 on top of whatever the store credit was. Whatever, it's fine. I'm just glad to get it over with. There is a dive shop 5 minutes north of where we usually stay in Litchfield. So, nothing against Coastal Scuba whatsoever, but I'm going to give them a shot just because of location proximity next time I'm down there. If they're terrible, then yeah, I'll check you out. I'll come back to Coastal Scuba, but alright, back to the wreck. So this wreck is called the Sherman, which might make you think it's a Union boat. Didn't always used to be that way. It is a Civil War era boat, and I'm trying to remember the history off the top of my head, so if I get something wrong here, please feel free to correct me in the comments. Let me think. So this was a Confederate boat during the Civil War whose job was to, I think, in quotes, run the blockade of the Union. So I guess the Union kind of set up a naval blockade on the southern ports. And I think the purpose of this boat was to run through the blockade. I don't know if that means like ramming boats. I don't think it could possibly mean that because this was not a metal boat. This was very much wooden. So I can't imagine this went running into Union ships. So I think by run the blockade, it means just like run through the blockade without being seen, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, the Union captured it during the war. And I believe after the war, they sold it to a private company who renamed it the Sherman. Probably a slap in the face to the Confederates there, I imagine. And in 1874, it sank of natural causes. It sprung a leak, apparently, and they spent 3 days trying to siphon the water out, and I guess they eventually failed, and it sank. I could see the shore from this wreck, so it wasn't that far off. We were in about 55 feet of water, but this is a natural wreck. This is not an artificial reef. And you can obviously see the boat. The silhouette of the boat, honestly, was better than I thought it would be. I was expecting it to be... Yeah, watch out. I think I got tangled up on that line a little bit. But yeah, you can clearly see both silhouette. It actually looked better than I thought. If you look at my Portugal dive boat, or my Portugal dives, the first one, the ship graveyard, for instance, they told us that was the site of many shipwrecks. But you get down there and there's like, you can't even tell it's shipwrecks, you know, just because they're so old, I guess. But this one sank in 1874, so pretty old. I thought it looked pretty darn good for being that old. Hold on, you know, I gotta check my playlist. What are we? I don't have that many videos in this one, so I might have to hurry up and talk. Where are we at? 86? Oh, yeah, I got a few to go. But very nice. The conditions were terrible. I'm surprised they let us go. I was pretty befuddled going down. First of all, it was back roll into the water, which I don't like. I'm doing it wrong. I really got to practice my back rolls. Gosh, I got the gain turned up on this mic too much, I can tell. Still, I've been recording videos for years, and I still haven't figured out a sweet spot for that, but that's irrelevant right now. But yeah, so back roll into the water. I really need to learn to like back roll and just poke my head up. Instead, I think I roll too much. I end up doing like a somersault underwater, and I get totally disoriented. And before in Cozumel, I back rolled into the water and come up and hit my head on the bottom of the boat. So clearly that's not what you want. So I think I'm doing back rolls wrong. I like it at Mermet where I can just step into the water. Just ease right into the water. That's my favorite. After that is Giant Stride. Even that one's kind of an abrupt entry. And then back roll is just totally befuddling. You know, it's like abrupt into the water. You're twisted all around. You don't know what's going on. But, so there was that, but that really wasn't the problem. The problem is the chop. I'm surprised they let us in, to be honest with you. Very rough seas. It was very rough seas. I was boogie boarding earlier in the week, I think the day before maybe, and it was... I thought I was in Nazaré. It was some tough, rough current. But we got out there, it was choppy. Got on the water though, finally started going down, but they had a line connected to the wreck. You know, like they should have. And we're following that line down, and it was getting tossed in the waves. Like if you hung onto this thing, it's gonna like rip your shoulder out and kind of get tossed in the waves. I probably have some video of that somewhere. So you had to be very careful on that line. But we finally got down there. Yeah, and my Octo, my spare regulator, started spewing air too, I think at some point on the way down. So I had to deal with that. So yeah, it was not the cleanest ascent, or cleanest descent. But I got down there. Finally. There was tons of fish, you can see. They were all over the place. There was a lot of small schooling fish. There was a few bigger ones. I didn't see anything really awesome down there. Well, second dive I saw a flounder. And at the very end of the second dive, there's a barracuda that swam by while we were doing our safety stop. So, didn't see the barracuda on the wreck, but those were probably the two best fish I saw down there. And my buddy, shout out to my buddy. You know, I never know if my buddies want to be named or not, so I'm not going to use her name. Just call her Jay again. Just going to call my dive buddies Jay from now on. How's that sound? So Jay was awesome. It was kind of funny. She was not her first rodeo, so we were taking the boat right out there, and she was like under a blanket reading a book or something. Like, I've never seen that before. That was... And she asked if I needed a dive buddy. And her son was sitting next to her, and I was like, "Oh, me and your son?" And she said, "No, silly, I'm diving. He's getting certified." That might not have been exactly like, oh, I thought at one point it's going to be the three of us. And she was like, no, he's getting certified. But there was definitely a time she was like under the blanket drinking hot chocolate and reading a book, and I did not think she was dying. So, I apologize, Jay. Jay was awesome. She had been on this wreck before. So she knew, you know, she had the layout of it going on in her head. She had a map. I would have been totally lost without her. You can see how terrible this visibility is. But she had been here before. She even said this was like the worst visibility she's ever seen on this wreck before, so that kind of sucked, but I was happy to get the dive done with, you know, after 4 years of 4 years of trying to make it happen. And I will say this about Jay, she was on a mission. She was looked like she was looking for something. I don't know. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that if she ever watches this. I told her my YouTube channel. I don't know if she's ever looked it up or not. Maybe she looked it up a couple days later, and so this is like 2 weeks later maybe. I'm a little late to posting these videos. I wanted to get Portugal done. Portugal's been sitting in my deck for 3 months now. Yeah, look at this chain. Oh, look at this rope. Well, it felt more violent when I was there, but those ropes are really jerking in the wind. Well, in the current. There's a tiny starfish, yeah. I felt like Jay was really looking for something. She was down in there, poking her head into crevices and kind of moving things out the way. And yeah, look at this thing jerking around. You gotta be careful about your fingers, man. I almost got my fingers pinched on that thing a couple times. But I'm more of a kind of, let's take it on the, I'm more of a hover above everything and kind of look down from about 10 feet. She is not. She is hands in, hands on. She is buried all in it. Yeah, but her son was there getting certified, so congratulations to him. He did not get 100% certified that day. But I think he had one more dive left or something, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that he did finish that up. Don't know his name. Jay was calling him Lemonade, so I think that's... Shout out to Lemonade. I don't know how you got that name. I'm assuming that's not your real name, but no judgment here. Everybody got a name. But congrats to Lemonade for getting certified. He's only 16, so that's awesome. I've said before, my biggest regret with diving is I didn't do it sooner. I didn't get certified until, oh geez, what am I, 30, I'm almost 39 now. I got certified in May of 2019, so I would have been 33. Wow, that sounds like a long time ago now. Yeah, I've been diving like 5.5 years now, so I really wish I had done it sooner. It's always on my mind. I always wanted to do it. And one day I was finally like, you know what? Let's walk into a dive shop. Let's do this. Yeah, so I'm actually touching the wooden mast of this boat right now, which is, probably shouldn't be doing that, but, well, I said mast. I have no idea if that's a mast or not. Definitely a wooden part of the boat, though. Very cool, very cool. Probably shouldn't be touching things, but it was just a little tap. Just a little tap, not a big deal. That's not going to send the boat into total destruction. Or, not destruction. That'd be the word. Degradation. There we go. Yeah, salt water is very unfriendly to things. Ah, where are we at? 90. Ooh, got this one and one more. Yeah, it was a cool wreck. Unfortunately, just couldn't see much. See, this water looks green now. So, oh, you hear that? You hear that beeping? That's my computer screaming at me. It's one of the ascent warnings. I will say this about Jay. She rocketed up that rope at the end, man. I don't know. She's ready to get out the water, and she's ready to get out the water. I was taking it a little slower than she was. Especially the second dive. She just went way up, like an elevator, straight to the safety stop. And I'm like, hold up, Jay. I ain't going up that fast. My computer is going to scream at me, scream bloody murder at me if I go up that fast. This one was pretty fast, actually. And that, in fact, I'll be curious to see if I have any ascent warnings on my second dive. I have looked at the picture. I do not remember. Yeah, we're at 15 feet now. This is the safety stop. Cool looking wreck. If you saw those small lines, maybe I'll talk about that more in the second dive, but yeah, when we got out there, there's Jay. Yeah, she's only wearing a skin, so I had a 3mm on. It was probably overkill. I dive in cold water most of the time, so I don't really have a feel for what I need in warm water. But I usually need nothing in warm water. I've learned that. Yeah, if you check out my Key West dives, I was in a... oh, no, I had a 1.5mm pullover at Key West. So this one was twice that thickness, full body. Yeah, this was not a shorty, this was full body. But it wasn't bad, it wasn't hot or anything. There's only like 2 times in my life I've been diving hot. That was a lake in Arkansas with the 7mm on, keeping it shallow, and that was at Penny Royale in Kentucky this year, keeping it shallow. So I just had to open up the wrists and kind of work some fresh water in there. But this is it for this dive. Really cool on the Sherman. Come back for the second one. You're going to see a flounder and maybe a barracuda, but no promises. I will see you there.